Yes, I did. I do not want that ringing during the meeting.
Oh.
Got yours on? Good. Call this meeting order. All stand, face the flag. Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Roll call. Britton Luther, he is not here, not present. R.J. Donovan.
Here.
Tim Yokelman here. Start off with approval of minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I second it. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of claims.
Make a motion to approve claims.
I second it. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approval of payroll.
Make a motion to approve payroll.
I second it. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Public comment.
Ron Mack, County Surveyor. In June, I promised to have the addendum to the Dana District Drainage Board bylaws, but the weather did not cooperate with the farmers, so I'm just now getting that done. So I'm going to give the original signed copy to file. And then I've got one here for Britton, one for Tim, one for RJ, and one for John, and then I'll keep one file in the office. So they have signed, they'd all agreed to it. Basically it says it sets the protocol for how the members are selected. Really no changes from the way it's been for the last 40 years. It just has it in writing, so there's a procedure to follow. And the other thing, there was a concern on how much money they could spend without having to go through the Vermillion County Drainage Board and the commissioners, and we just set a limit at $2,000. Figured that would take care of any kind of spraying or mowing or just routine out-of-pocket expenses on an annual basis. Anything above that, they'll have to come to the Drainage Board, and then we'll go through the bidding process, you know, for dredging or big construction type work.
Okay.
Is that it? Are you guys happy? I'm happy.
Well, anybody else? Anyone else? Okay, we're gonna move on down on the agenda. Vermillion Trails Alliance. Anyone here tonight speak for Vermillion Trails Alliance? I do not see those here. Vermillion Rise. Wanna come up? Yeah.
I've got a few updates I could share.
Good.
So Bob Gruy, Vermillion Rise. We have a board meeting Thursday evening. Some of the notes from our planned meeting, we'll be hearing our audit report for 2021 from Kat Sapper-Miller. We'll be submitting a sewer treatment plant renewal permit application to IDEM. Every 3 years we have to redo our NPDES permit. We're planned to consider an ordinance to modify our sewer ordinance. Scott Pett asked if we could move grease and oil to 100 milligrams per liter. We're at 25 now, and that would help them in their process. HWC thinks we can do that and still not have any real significant problems with our treatment plant. Purdue University has reached out to us about locating a small weather station. Apparently they're trying to site these all over the state in each county, and so they'll have a network of weather data for all kind of purposes. And they want it somewhere where it will be permanent. And so we're going to talk to them, and maybe there's another better location in the county that we have a sense will never really ever be disturbed or developed in that instance. So we're going to continue to talk with them, and we may be reaching back out to county officials. We've leased Scott Pet some short-term storage, and everybody with their supply chains is, or maybe they're short supplies, or they're getting a lot dropped on them at one time. So we've leased part of a building to them, and we got another inquiry from a local company to do the same, just because of a onslaught of product. We're starting conversations with our insurance company again. As always, we're going to press them about public access and the gate and all the things that every year we want to make sure there's no alternatives and create more opportunities for access. And I think
Changing the status of your entity over there by that ruling we got from the Secretary of State, how's that affecting you and helping you?
Well, it should help a lot, and particularly one of the things with the insurance, we're going to try to pull apart the utilities and give that to a certain underwriter, and then the property casualty to another. And so we're meeting tomorrow, and we'll reiterate that again, that we are a unit of government and enjoy the limits of liability, and all that should help us.
Will that help you in any on funding or anything? I mean, like
Oh,
community
maybe
crossing grant,
if
would
a
that-
unit, the funding normally hasn't been about our status as insurance has been. The thing with funding has been sort of the beneficiaries or other reasons we don't fit into someone's bucket. But good point, Tim, as my last note here. Terry Gooden, the new state director for USDA Indiana, is going to visit the RISE the week of August 11. So we want to make sure he's aware from an agriculture standpoint what we have out there and some of the value-added agricultural opportunities we could accommodate at the RISE. So that'll be good.
Any update on your solar project, or is it?
Yeah, we're about there. I think Joe and folks are still just looking at some of the detail.
Approximately how many acres or how many megawatt is that? You know,
It's 185 megawatt, and I think we're coming in at 750. 750 acres.
750.
Yeah, and so it's like behind 7,700, and then sort of west before you get to the gate. So it's that
about
south and west corner.
About 3 acres a megawatt.
Is it 3 or 5? I can't remember that ratio. Sorry.
Is most of it going south of the plant?
There's some land south too that's involved. Kind of joins up. Yeah.
Any questions?
I don't. Thanks for the update, Bob.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, Joe, we got a print out here, and I'll just go over it roughly. And it's here. If anyone wants to see it, it's available. The jail is still on schedule for the completion date of 2023 as originally planned. It's still on budget as it was originally planned. We have a lot of information here, and like I said, if anybody wants to come and look at it, feel free to after the meeting, and if you want a copy, we can make you copies if you really want that too. So I'd like to schedule a meeting again to go into the jail to go walk through it again, you know.
Sure, yeah.
Are you in favor of that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Might be nice to ask the council to go too.
Yeah, see the progress.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. Okay, next the ordinance 2022-13, the monument for the second reading.
Yeah, so this is ordinance Ron Mack brought before us, and I think Britton had done some changes to it, and everybody's in agreement with it. I'll read this by title. I'd like to make a motion in favor of passing ordinance number 2022-13, an ordinance establishing procedures and penalties for the removal or alteration of a section, corner, or high accuracy reference, network point, or benchmark monument.
I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion? Anyway, we passed it. All in favor? We're all in favor. Well, the ordinance 2022-14. Do you have any questions about that, Phelps, about the speed limit on our county? The speed limit, can you come up if you...
What was it?
The ordinance for the,
Can't hardly hear you back there.
for the,
There's a county ordinance, Mike, that would make a default speed limit for all county roads at 45 mile an hour.
No, I don't have any issue. I think it's more of a CYA for you guys, but there's no way that we can patrol every single county road 24
Yeah.
hours a day, but gives us a guideline to go by. But how are you gonna post that before we can write citations on it? There has to be some form of public notification, mainly for people that's outside of the county, but even people inside of the county, it's gonna take a period of time before they're gonna know that.
Yeah.
I mean, publishing it, you know, is gonna get you so far, but
Yeah, I think at the minimum, like you said, maybe, I mean, we could do something in the paper, we could maybe put something out on social media. We could definitely use some of those signs that we have and put them in, you know, areas that I'd be concerned with would be like Flatiron.
coming in and out of the county.
Yeah, you know, Riley'sburg Road, some of the entrances from Illinois.
Like
that
Vigo
were-
County did the same thing, didn't they?
Oh, I don't know.
Like most of their county roads are 45
Yeah,
now.
so I'm sure we could move those signs and warn people that, you know, there's a new ordinance that it's 45 mile an hour. And
I
then
would-
plus putting up new speed limit signs as well.
I would recommend broadcasting it somewhat frequently for a while, or maybe even several times a year.
Just to let people know.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't have any other discussion on it. We've read it once. I think a lot of our roads are probably safe to say none of them should be going over 45, and even though people will go over 45. With that, I make a motion to approve County Ordinance Number 2022-14 by title, an ordinance declaring that the speed limit on unposted county roads be 45 miles per hour.
I second that. Discussion, any more discussion? I think we had enough.
Yeah, I don't have any more.
Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passed. Okay. The RISE Board appointment, I want Britton to be here when we make that decision, and that's what I want to do. So how does that work? If-
Well, you don't want to make the appointment tonight, so if you're both in agreement, it wouldn't be made tonight, but if there's only two commissioners present at a meeting and they disagree, then the statute says it automatically tables to the next meeting. So I would think either way it waits to the next meeting.
Yeah, I was in favor of voting for one tonight, but since Tim wants to wait, there's no sense in making a motion and letting it fail, so we'll just wait till next meeting.
That's fine. We're gonna move on to new business. Meredith Addison,
Hello?
you're next.
Uh-oh, you're gonna tell me what my topic was. I slept since I mentioned it probably.
Meredith Addison is here to talk about critical access.
Oh, there's a new category, Meredith Addison, emergency nurse since 1979, captain in the United States Army, so got some mission in the background. There's a new category of hospital called the Rural Emergency Hospital. It's so new that they don't even have a write-up about it. I tried to go through our lobbyist in Indiana State Nurses Association. There's going to be some webinars about it coming up, but it's so new that we don't have information on it. The other thing is the Governor's Commission on Public Health. They've met monthly for hours since September of 2021. Their draft is being revised right now, and it's so secret that I can't even get copies of it. But it'll be coming out before August 1st to the governor, and those of you who keep your ears close to the ground, look for a Kodak moment, because there's a rumor that there'll be a Kodak moment where he does the ta-da. We're going to move Indiana from 41st or whatever it is out of 50 states to 1st. That's going to take some networking.
What rating for what?
In all 50 states, Indiana ranks anywhere from 39th to 47th, depending on whose study you read, on public health in general. And with only 15,000 people in our county, we can kick butt. Even if we just change 6 people's realities, we've made a statistical blip. So I've got 6 people that, of the 15 people on that commission, who are speed dial friends of mine over the last 25 years. So just be on the lookout for things to happen.
Good.
And if you want to know more about it, let me know.
Okay,
Thank you.
Questions?
appreciate it.
Thank you.
The jail population, I talked to Mike Phelps, I had several questions, and he's going to do it next meeting on that part of it. And then you go ahead and handle the jail
I
copies.
don't know if it's just my hearing, but I can't hardly hear you back there. I can hear
Okay.
RJ. but-
Tell me if you can't hear me, please. I'll move it up here.
I mean, I've got
Yeah.
hearing problems, but
I do too.
you're low
The
volume.
jail, the questions I said we could wait till next meeting so you have more time to prepare for that if you want to.
Thank you, because there's no way I could put that
Okay, that's-
together in
that's
2
okay.
hours.
That's okay, next meeting. But the jail copier, can you take care of that?
The what?
jail copier, the jail copier contract. You have to okay.
Yeah, that's like
Okay.
50% less than what we're paying now. And we're still in a contract until November. The issue is the longer we wait to sign it, the longer before they can order it, and we don't know how long it's gonna take to get them in, so that's, not that it's a dire thing, but it could take a while to get them in.
We'll go take care of it today, tonight. for you.
Oh, you are going to?
Yeah.
I can't hear you, I'm sorry. Am I the only one?
Am I the same way? I mean, can you hear me? Can't hear me either?
I can hear RJ back there, but I can't hear you. Hey,
Please raise your hand and point at me or something. I mean, we're here for you to hear, so. Is that better? Is that better? Yeah. Okay. RJL Solutions. I would like, Doug Hess, you want to come and talk and?
Tim, do you want to approve that contract for
Yes.
that?
Get too far
Real
ahead.
quick before we,
You want to make a motion?
yeah,
or
could
something?
I will make a motion to approve the jail copier contract with Toshiba Business Solutions.
I'll second it. Discussion.
Don't have any.
Roll in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Doug Hess, Economic Development, and I'll let TJ introduce
Thank you.
himself here in just a second from RJL Solutions. We've been asked to come in and kind of give an overview of where we are currently with the contract with RJL Solutions, and at this time I'm going to go ahead and let TJ present their work.
Yeah. It's good to see you guys again. Brenda, do I have access to look through this? Or? If not, we have the printouts.
There you go.
Okay. Well, anyways, my name is TJ Collette, Director of Business Development for RJL Solutions. Brenda, if you can move on. One more.
It's just slow.
Okay. I'll be quick. We might just stick to this. I'm going to run through the kind of the scope of work and what we've done up to this point, and then at the end I'll kind of let you guys know what's next moving forward, but I'll be quick. First section, social media and marketing. We held a kickoff meeting right in March to just discuss expectations. We developed and delivered a timeline just so Doug could hold us accountable. What we said we were going to do, we'd do it, and he'd let us know if we don't. He hasn't had to yet. Determined a marketing and PR needs to construct a social media plan. Organized and took headshots, created and reviewed social media strategy. Doug had to look at all that and tell us that was good so we can move on. Since then, we have launched actually 3 social media platforms. The first one being Facebook, LinkedIn, and then Twitter. I included the podcast and I put an asterisk next to it because we did not do a lot of that work. That was actually vast majority Doug and his media group that works with him. We helped a little bit with some of the language of the upfront talking in it, but that's really it. And we'll help getting some guests on from here on out because you guys know Rachel, she's connected here and there, so we'll be able to help with getting people on there. Branding and marketing. I'll skip those first 2. We held a kickoff meeting to discuss all these, but eventually we got to create a branding plan. We developed a survey and pumped that out through the social medias. We ended up 255 responses, and that's going to close on the 25th, so we'll continue pumping that out until the 25th comes along, and we'll close it down so we can start going through that data and then kind of start the fun part where we get to get creative. On top of that, we facilitated 2 community forums. I was at one of them. My team members were at another. First one was very, very good, but I heard the second one was even better, more attendees. But it's always good to get that face-to-face time and actually hear people talk about their thoughts. We also attended the Vermilion County Fair to receive community feedback, just asked some similar questions, did a little activity. And then right now we are beginning the process of reviewing that data. We'll move on to government relations, which this was kind of a conversation we had in the beginning that this side of the scope would move a little bit slower, but we decided to go ahead and move on because there are some stuff that we were able to get done in the last 5 months that are worth noting. First one, I'll skip these. We determined legislative priorities and goals with Doug, had him sign off. We made a little document that he could look at, kind of be his playbook moving forward, but not only his, but ours. We hosted a 1-day strategic plan retreat to kind of talk through those priorities a little bit more and then develop an even more in-depth document that I mean, that could last a long time. It just depends what pace that we get through it. But it's definitely a document that could be around a while that we can look and base some stuff off of. We began connecting with local and relevant legislators. The first thing we attended were the Vigo County update, just so Doug could get familiar with our neighbors. We went to the Senator John Ford fundraiser. This is a little disappointing, but we got a table at the Indiana GOP spring dinner right next to the governor's table, and 3 of our people coming, including Doug, ran into traffic on the way there. So I think 3 or 4 of the people supposed to be at the table were unable to make it, which stinks, but I think it was worth noting. And then we'll remain being proactive and ensuring Vermilion County forms and maintains a strong relationship with Senator Booth's successor. So I told you I'd go quick. So what's next? We're going to develop the community brand based on that data that we took through the survey and the forums, develop a brand strategy and comprehensive brand guide, which pretty much just, once we get to Doug, him and his team will be able to look at it and know kind of those just basic rules on how to implement that brand. We'll present update to leadership team, including commissioners, which is what's happening right now. As far as legislation goes, we will continue Ready Round 2 conversations. Nothing is solidified yet, but it seems pretty promising coming into this next session that there'll be a whole other conversation with some dollars involved.
How far out do you think that is?
If I had to guess, since Ready Round 1 was this last summer and spring, 2021, and then this year didn't happen, if I had to take a guess, I'd say 23, summers, fall-ish, but I can't.
I was talking to Doug about, we gotta get, seems like a lot of these grants come up and it seems like they're too quick, they're not enough time, and we need to promote Vermilion County. If anyone here even has anything any idea that they want to get funded for, they need to bring it to us so we could have something ready to go. I mean, that's a problem. It seems like these grants come along and we just ain't got enough time to prepare, so why don't we go ahead and prepare and everybody start dreaming a little bit what they want.
Exactly, yep.
And there's nothing wrong with dreaming, and then bring that in and then start getting it ready for, because I think next time they're going to look at us a lot closer from what they did compared to.
Yeah, 100%. And be very bold in those project goals as well. I'm sure you guys saw the ready results from this last time, but Sullivan really made out good.
They ended up getting a hotel?
They got, I think, 7 or 8 different projects, but it's because they had those projects ready.
There it is.
They've been dreaming.
Yeah.
Clint Lamb did a very good job of thinking proactively, and then all of a sudden he gets this opportunity, and then they paid off pretty well.
But they actually got a hotel funded? Or just
I think
$1 million.
So it didn't get it funded, but money towards the project that helped them get over the hump. It's for those projects that are just about to be able to be done. With a little extra help from the state, they can actually do the project.
We need more dreamers. We need people who, have some ambitions for to make something happen.
Got one right here.
No, I know. We're going to have fun with it.
Yes, we will.
Also,
We will. Once the end of October, November comes by, we'll solidify those 2023 legislative priorities just so we can go into session ready to go. And then begin implementing new branding into the social media and kind of develop some of those print pieces that you guys can use. I talked to my team this morning and they said the end of October, but don't tell them I said this. I really hope that we can get it sooner. But by at the very latest, end of October, that brand will be done and ready to get pumped out into the social media. We'll continue to meet with local legislators to discuss the identified priorities as we head into session, just so they know anytime Doug is coming in or whoever wants to join us comes in, they know what we're going to approach them about normally. Then legislative session will begin. And the last one, identify ways to strategically engage in Newport Antique Auto Hill Climb and Little Italy's Festival. So I think that's one place that RGL in the last 5 months could improve. We haven't done a lot of thought about that, but that's definitely a direction that we want to start thinking. And that's my update. Do you have any questions?
I don't have any. I think you guys are doing good work. I think there's a lot of good things going on. I think that podcast Doug done, I think is just fantastic. I'd love to see a live one eventually, Doug. I keep telling him that.
There were over 60 viewers on the first episode.
Really?
For such a niche podcast idea, that's really, really good.
It's been a week, so tomorrow will be our second episode. We'll release tomorrow morning, so subscribe.
Wow.
Yep.
Doug, you want to have any comment on this?
Yeah, the only thing I would say is we have been working very well with RGL Solutions. Enjoy working with them. Anytime that we've had a question or an idea, they've been Johnny on the spot on that. We do have list of different legislative, but it's also kind of loose because we know at any given moment something could change, so it's not in concrete. We're going to be very flexible on this. We've already started our conversations with Ready 2, and like we said, we got to make sure that we have our plans already drawn up. We're kind of getting an idea based off what we saw with round 1. We're going to take that as our game plan of what to anticipate. I think you'll see more state dollars than you will federal dollars in round 2. That should help us loosen up the strings a little bit when it comes to regulations. So we're starting that process right now, and we want to have a huge list to be able to say, here's 20 ideas, but here's 8 we're going to propose, or whatever that magic number happens to be.
So Doug, if there's somebody in the community or, town board members, if anybody's got any ideas on a big dream, should they reach out to you with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Send it
Okay.
to us, and then we'll be working with RJL Solutions because we'll have to have, it could be architectural designs that we may have to if we're building a building, let's just say. We'll have to know what our project cost is going to be so we can put a price tag to it. So there'll be some legwork we'll have to do, but that's what we're here. It's not just for our department to run, it's for the county. So
Yeah.
send
Would
your
there
ideas.
be something that economic development could do, maybe on their social media platform, putting something out, encouraging people to send in ideas, or letting our town boards and our cities know that, hey, if you've got an idea, and you guys may already have all the good ones, but there may be one out there that just we're not thinking
Yeah,
of.
I think that's definitely an option.
Absolutely.
And I will add that for these projects, the state would prefer for them to be shovel-ready, but they don't require that.
Okay.
There's some money that Vigo County got that for concept-ready.
Okay.
We're proposing an east side water park and sports facility, so then we receive a matching fund to do a feasibility study. So
Okay.
it can be a concept-ready project, although
Okay.
they prefer it for it to be
Yeah, and there may be some
shovel-ready.
shovel-ready ones I don't know about these towns, but yeah, I just thought it'd be an idea to get that out there. That way we're not behind the ball, and if people got ideas.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Is there
Thank
any
you, Brenda.
documentation or work that shows how you apply for it and what they're looking for, requirements, any type of requirements, or is it just?
I can get with Greg Good. I don't think there are. I think it kind of just starts through conversations, and RJL works very closely with the RJL and with the RDA. We'll make sure that you are all in those conversations. But I can talk to Greg Good and see if there is actually a formal process of doing it.
Okay. Anybody got any questions for Doug, or?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Or Kim.
Do I need to come up?
You need to come up here
Just a
and
quick
talk.
question.
If it's real quick, just brief, you might not have to. If you're gonna talk very long, you need to come up here.
Okay, it's just brief. A small business in, like at Newport, how would they go about applying for a loan?
Sure. So, a small business loan is basically so we have a USDA loan funds through our office. There's an application that they would just either need to come into the office, or we can email them that application. It lists everything that's going to be required, and then what we do is we send it to a committee, so it's just not one person having that decision, so we'll send it to a committee, and they'll say yes or no.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Based on it.
Do we need to
Would
do that?
Newport, get some backing because of the shortage we have here?
Like for the ready grant? Absolutely, we are open to any and all conversations. Oh, absolutely, we are open to any and all conversations, so, not saying every idea that comes we'll be able to do, but let's put a priority list and let's see how we can get it funded. Yeah, because if we let some of these towns die, then we're in trouble. So,
I
absolutely.
think we're good.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely. Anybody?
I think that's good to get out.
Yeah, and that could be something else, I think. Eventually they share on the social media platform is letting them know. And there's actually been a lot of small businesses use that revolving loan fund that was started, I think, prior to Doug's arrival as a director. I think it was prior, but it was a good program. I think businesses throughout the county have used that, and it's been a very good tool for the county. But that's something we could shine on as well, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We was gonna do a
Provide a link out there.
We was
Absolutely.
gonna do a reevaluation, and I think that all three of us in agreement.
Yeah, I
too.
think-
You guys did a good job. We'll continue that to the end of the term.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we got salary ordinance, and this is for part-time help. And RJ, if you want to talk about that, we can
Yeah,
discuss it.
I talked to Leanne as well. I've actually spoke to a lot of county officials, and our part-time pay right now for any county employee is $10 an hour, which, as you know, is pretty low, and not a lot of people work for that. Through discussions with other commissioners and even HR, I would like to make a motion that we move the part-time pay from $10 an hour on the salary ordinance to $13 an hour.
I second that. Discussion?
I don't have any more besides the fact that I think it'll help some of these offices when they do need part-time help, because $10 an hour, price of gas, it's tough to get some people anywhere unless they live right next to the workplace.
And the other thing is that we have X amount of money budgeted for that. When that money's out, then it's out.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got a motion?
Yep.
I'll second it, and we'll have no more discussion and call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carried. Detour State Road 71, we have a copy of that here that Britton sent. If anyone wants to come in and see it, it's here. So we're going to let that go on. The ambulance director, they could not be here tonight, and so what I'm asking for, I think RJ is in agreement to have an executive session this Friday would be acceptable, we think.
Yeah, I would definitely at the minimum like to see if we can call a special meeting, an executive meeting Friday to discuss issues with the ambulance director, Eric Shaughnessy. I don't know what time. I think we can confirm with Britton, but for me, preferably early in the morning or late in the afternoon. There's been issues brought to myself by several people that there's been potential breaches in the Atlanta EMS contract that we definitely need to discuss, and I will hold off on a lot of public discussion until the meeting Friday.
Good. So you want to go ahead and try to set a time? I'm open, so whatever works best for you.
Yeah, I could do, if we want to set one at like 9 a.m., or if that don't work, I could do like 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Well, hold on. Probably 1 o'clock, because I got James's rehearsal for his wedding Friday at 3, so I better not get too far on Friday. But 9 a.m. preferred if we could.
9 a.m. is fine for me. And then we'll get send information. How do we send that information out to ask people to come? Does it need to be sent by?
Well, you just invite him to come to your executive session. If he declined, then you could subpoena him to a public meeting.
Okay. 9 a.m. Friday.
Yep.
Bridge 90 ARP funding.
Yeah, Tim, I may spend a few minutes talking about this. Back in 2019, the former commissioners, along with Tim Yoakum, seen it appropriate to get a bridge replaced, Bridge 90. It's on 1450 North. There is 41 homes that are back on this dead-end road. Clark Dietz had rated this bridge for replacement back in 2019. It is now 2022. The county owns the bridge. We've put this out to bid a couple times. Last time it was $390,000. Most recently I've been told that bid is now $510,000. I'm afraid that each month that goes by, this money will just be, the cost will just be astronomical, maybe closer to $1 million if we wait another year. Commissioner Luther suggested waiting till next year and using community crossing grant money, which is a possibility. But if the bridge fails between now and then, there's 41 homes back there, no emergency services can get back to them. I've asked to be on the ARP, or I've asked the ARP committee to consider this funding multiple times. I have not heard anything back from them. I am here pleading with at least one of my fellow commissioners tonight to go to the county council and ask for the $510,000 for this bridge to be replaced. Clark Dietz, there's embankment issues. I've got somebody wants to read some of the report, I've got some of the report here. I'm just concerned if this does fail, it's going to be catastrophic. We're going to have to put in a temporary road. And I mean, the safety of these citizens is what matters most, and none of us, I just had a bridge fail on 1550 North overnight. And this here, we've been giving the warnings, and I'm afraid that, and hopefully nobody crashes or gets hurt, you know, going across this bridge. So yeah, Tim, that's where I'm at. I would like to go to the council and ask to use $510,000 of the ARP funding to fix this bridge.
That's no problem on the council.
Okay, if that's fine with you, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm just afraid waiting a year and a half. I don't know that I'll be able to sleep at night if that thing collapses.
I think maybe you ought to try to look at, you know, if you can do something, you know, any type of funding will help. I don't know if there's any funding any type of match money.
Yeah,
that's like what we did on this bridge down here. We went to the feds and we got, you know, 800-some-thousand. We got 75% of that. Britt just did his bridge, and he got
the 80-20. Yeah, and those federally funded
that's
projects.
What you want to do.
Yeah, those work great, but the only problem is those are 6 and 8 years out, and this process should have been started back in it might have been prior to you, Tim, 2012, 2013, and since it wasn't, I mean, now we're moving forward doing those federally funded projects, but this is one of those last ones that, I mean,
it's been a real problem ever since it started.
Yeah, it's just been, and like I said, the bridge has already been paid for, and I'm just afraid the labor cost is just going to continue to rise, and before we know it, it'll be $1 million bridge, and I just hope that it doesn't collapse in the night and, you know, people get hurt, and God forbid somebody dies out there. I just can't. So if you have no issues with that, if you have no issues with that, then I'll seek to get on the county council's agenda to ask for $510,000 for the funding of Bridge 90.
Okay.
But August the 8th, okay.
What's the date? August
8th. All right. Just remind me to fill out one of those forms, and I'll fill out the form. All right, that's all I have on Bridge 90.
We're done with the agenda, right? Nothing else you got to say? As I said before, the Gormong report's up here if anyone wants to see it on the bridge. On the bridge, on the jail. I'd like to schedule a meeting. It'd be nice to see if the council wants to go.
Yeah, go out there and see the progress. It's nice to walk out there and see all the work they're doing.
So, okay. To the last part of public comment. Anybody's got anything to say? If you do, come up here and address say your name and please address.
Just public comment on any topic?
Yeah.
My name is Gary Rush. I own
Gary Rush?
Rush, R-U-S-H. I own 150 acres on County Road 150 South, about almost a mile of which abuts the Trails project. And some letters were sent out last month. They arrived after the meeting. So I understand you invited public comment, but wasn't any way to get here and make it when the letters arrived late. This is the first time in 3.5 years I've been asked for comment. And so I appreciate that, and I want to thank you for reaching out. I want to register strong opposition to the trails. There are many questions. 3.5 years ago, I sent a letter to the Trails Commission asking for a copy of the plan. I've never received it. In fact, after numerous phone calls, a gentleman, I think his name was Les Zimmerman, just said he wasn't going to send us the plan. So, you know, I feel like there's a certain transparency lacking. I don't know what happens during hunting season out there. There's a lot of lead in the air. Seems like a danger. I've never heard what the plan is on that. I don't know what the plan is to get the inevitable trash that will be left along the trail. I've never heard how the zoning restrictions will be dealt with. I mean, that's zoned N, as I recall, which has a 100-foot setback requirement, the trail, and that'd be on each edge, so you'd need to have 200 feet. The trail is 50 feet in some places, 100 in others. I don't know how any improvements can be done along that plan, along that trail, and be consistent with county zoning requirements. I don't know who's going to enforce whatever rules are out there. I don't know of a single neighbor that actually approves of this plan. And I would tell you if I knew of one. I don't. I've talked to a lot of them. I've talked to you know, the Walkers, who own a long section of that. I've talked to Hollingsworth. He's adamantly opposed to it. Many of the other neighbors along the road. This does not seem to be something that has neighbor approval. And I guess, you know, I can understand the value of the quality of life appeal of having trails like this, but I don't know why the trail can't go through Vermilion Rise, and why there's discussion of spending another $500,000 on a boondoggle bridge to nowhere to get that last little segment of the trail patched in. So I guess that's the essence of my comment. Where's the plan? How do I get the plan? And how do we find out what's actually gonna go on over there? And at some point, will you actually listen to the neighbors that live along there? Thank you.
Gary, if I could have a couple follow-up questions with you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So in the last 3 years, it's true, it would be a true statement that the VTA never reached out to you with any plans or any documents, because what we're being told from the VTA is kind of opposite of that, is that there were some angry neighbors that showed up in a meeting and was very, you know, mean to them in a meeting, and therefore they were advised not to talk to you guys.
Well, no one's reached out to us, and it would certainly seem consistent that they, I mean, the only meeting I know about, there was one 3.5 years ago where my son went and asked for a copy of the plan, but we followed it up with a letter. Mm-hmm. And I'll be happy to send any of the commissioners a copy of that letter that registered objection at that point in time based on what we knew, but asking for a copy of the plan. I mean, it's easy to object to something that you don't know what it is. Perhaps there's a plan that would not be objectionable. I don't know, since I've never seen it. Yeah. But I've never heard these questions answered, and I raised them in the letter.
Yeah. So yeah, if you could share that letter with us, I would greatly appreciate it. I think sometimes when we have groups, and this isn't anything against the VTA, they've done a lot of good work. They go after a lot of good grants, and they've got a lot of great volunteers. But when they do work on behalf of the county and are talking to landowners and are not, you know, being transparent like they should, that makes the county look bad. That makes the elected officials look bad when you call us and Walker Ag calls us and says, hey, I never received my letter. That's, you know, that's frustrating. And it's frustrating to hear in 3.5 years you've never got a call back or anything.
Yeah, I mean, is it the commission that gets to decide, well, gee, somebody was a meanie in the meeting, so we're choosing not to share anything with them. Well, maybe they were upset because all kinds of stuff was going on and they never heard about it. They were never told about it, and when they ask questions about it, they get stonewalled. Kind of easy to get upset when that happens.
Yeah, I think, Gary, I can just speak for myself as a commissioner, but if you could forward that letter to us, I would like to forward that to the VTA and ask them to answer every one of those questions before anything moves forward. I think that's a prudent thing to do, and I think as, you know, adjacent landowners, you guys have a right to have some questions answered, you know, and I mean, whether or not you're in favor of the trail or not, I think at least showing a plan and talking to you is a show of good faith, you know, and working together.
And to be clear, you know, that trail, as I understand it, is a long trail. Only a tiny little segment is on the other side of the bridge to nowhere, to, you know, that last 1.5 miles, and it doesn't lead anywhere. So that's what I object to. I don't mind the notion that there might be some appeal to the county in having a trail, but I certainly don't know how these questions are answered. And you guys know there's going to be all kinds of trash left along that trail, right? It's going to happen, and that trash.
I disagree with that.
Well,
it'll be cleaned up. It'll be taken care of. I disagree with that.
Well, it could be.
It will be.
It could be because I haven't ever seen the plan as to how that happens.
It will be.
You know, I don't know what, you know, are they going to keep people off of that during hunting season where there's.
Well, that's things that we're talking about, and I think that they will do whatever thing to make it safe for people.
Yeah.
And do you live in this area, or you
I live in Park County.
Live where?
Park County, Rockville. So yeah, I guess I live in the area.
You own on one side of it or both sides of it?
No, I own on one side. I own on the north side.
Okay.
but it's just about a mile, little bit less. Yeah.
So you just want some questions answered? That's
I'm a
all.
reasonable person, but everything I've heard so far, I don't know the answers to my questions. I certainly have, I've heard there's some $400,000 or $500,000 being either spent or requested for a bridge. It strikes me as very odd.
Well, let's have some clarification there. When you talk about spending money locally, there's a big difference between there's a lot of money available for grants, for especially for trails. I mean, millions of dollars out there, and for us to take advantage of that, which we do, and we do it in a very good way. Sometimes we've done grants here before that we've put in our own labor to make the matching money. So we've been very. I know when we first started with the River Bottom project, people complained about us spending money. We dedicated 2 years of donation and work our own self to get that project done. So there's a lot of the Vermillion Trails Association is a good organization. There's a lot of good people there, and if you have those questions, like RJ's saying, give them to me. Or you can give them RJ, but I'm part of that organization. I'm very proud of it. They're good people, and we will answer those questions.
Yeah, that's.
I think maybe forwarding it to if you have the old email or letter, maybe give it to the auditor and she can send it to all the commissioners. Maybe we can CC you on the email. I mean, however it works to get those questions answered for you.
Yeah.
So you're not really against it. We just want mainly clarity would help a lot. You're saying.
Well, in the absence of answers to my questions, I'm against it. Right? That doesn't mean there aren't answers that might be satisfactory. Okay. I mean, I could see a case where, having a trail that protects that area, keeps it in a natural state, could be an appealing thing. Somebody's going to pave a pathway down the center of it. I'm not very much in favor of that. So how do I know, right? How do I know? So in the absence of information, I'm against it.
Yeah, and I think, Gary, to second on that as well, as a commissioner, I have no idea either. We had someone in the auditor's office request some information from the VTA, I think a week ago, on the proposed, trail and stuff, and I don't believe to this date we have that information. So from sitting up here, we're as blind, or at least I'm as blind, unless I'm, a member of the VTA, I don't have any information to provide you either.
I mean, there's an old trestle bridge there. I don't know if it's technically a trestle bridge, but it's got to be 70 or 80 years old, rotting. I mean, it's a hassle for anybody to walk on, much less ride a bike on or jog over. You're going to twist your ankle. I mean, I don't know what happens to these things. And I don't know how you keep people from coming up and deciding that my land is their land, right? How does that happen? Am I responsible for posting it, or are you going to post it on my behalf? Right? Because you're feeding a lot of people into there. Anyway.
Yeah, send it to us and we'll get you the answers. And I can meet with you. I know RJ's will want to meet with you too. If you're down here sometime, maybe we can sit and talk.
Very good. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Next, anybody else? You got any closing comments?
I don't have any. If nobody else has any public comment, I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second it. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you for coming.